For this next essay, you will be doing an annotated bibliography. You should have already chosen your topic, and you will use that same topic for the annotated bibliography. What is an annotated bibliography? Essentially, it's a list of sources that includes the citation and a couple paragraphs about those sources. It's a list that has a brief summary and evaluation following it. You should always have a brief summary at the beginning of your annotated bib, and then some sort of evaluation, and we'll talk about that. Annotated bibliographies give you the chance to see how your sources relate to each other and to your own position. Do they give different kinds of information? Do they give new evidence? Do they disagree with one another? Is one a counterclaim to your argument? You want to evaluate the sources you have chosen. How effective are they? We've gotten practice with our last essay on how to evaluate things and to decide if arguments have holes in them. That's what you're looking for. This is giving you the chance to compile all of your evidence together, see how it fits together. How does it support your argument? Essentially, an annotated bibliography is a researcher's tool. This is what it looks like. You can see at the top, you have the citation. So this is for Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird. And you can see it's a book. Following it, we have several paragraphs. So the first paragraph includes a short summary. It looks at the overall point of the article. The second paragraph answers the question of relevancy. Specifically, this paragraph looks at how Lamott's text explains the complexities of the topic. The final paragraph also looks at relevancy. It points out how the reader could use these sources. It could also address timeliness because the source is relevant in the present. We'll talk more about timeliness, relevancy, and summary, but you can see that this is essentially what your annotated bib will look like. You'll have your citation with a few short paragraphs that follow. These are the steps. When you're writing your annotated bibliography, these are the possible topics you can address. Each annotated bibliography entry should have a summary, but you can also address relevancy, reliability, credibility, timeliness, and diversity. The first one is summary. We should always include a summary, and at the beginning of your summary, you should have a signal phrase. Arthur Hardy, a renowned expert on New Orleans carnival traditions, points out that Mardi Gras came to North America from Paris, where it had been celebrated since the Middle Ages. So this is an example of a signal phrase. You notice it has the author at the beginning. This one actually explains their credentials. You could also put the title in there, but a signal phrase essentially points the reader to know that, hey, this is someone else's source, and this is what they said. Notice also where I have points out. Okay, you can say argued. In the tutorial center, there's an entire list of signal phrase verbs you can use. You don't want to use says. They didn't say it, they're writing it unless you're quoting an interview. Relevancy is the next one. Your source must be relevant, which means that it must relate to your source. Does it speak directly to your topic? How? How does the source clarify some broader or related point in my paper? Or how does the source help explain the history or complexities of the topic? So all of your sources should have different purposes. They shouldn't all say the exact same information or put forward the same sorts of arguments or the same sorts of evidence, so that you have a variety of evidence to choose from. Reliability. How reliable is your source? Meaning, what is the quality of the information within it? A reliable source uses verifiable information that the readers can find for themselves. Does the source offer formal documentation? If there is no formal documentation, does the source acknowledge authorities with related credentials and qualifications that relates to your topic? So reliability is basically answering the question, how reliable is the source? For reliability, credibility. Credible sources make logical claims and help the reader follow the logic. Does the source make an argument? If so, are the claims well supported and well reasoned? Do you sense any logical fallacies? Does the source attempt to conceal its biases? Is the author credible? Do you have reason to question the author's credibility? Research the author. Why are they an authority on that topic? So, for instance, in the Dweck article, one tarnish to her credibility is that she was really using brainology for profit. So in the academic world, when you are using an idea for profit, in some ways it diminishes your credibility because you have a personal stake in those profits and in the outcome of what you're doing. There's a bias. And not to say that she's wrong, but the bias is there, and that's something that you want to acknowledge when you're looking at credibility. Timeliness. This is gigantic. Your sources need to be updated. It cannot be obsolete. It cannot be behind the times. And it depends on the particular topic. Some topics, the information can be a little bit older. But so you want to know, is this a time-sensitive topic? Has new legislation come out? Have circumstances or context changed? If so, why might the information in the source either be timely or why is it out of date? Diversity. Diversity refers to the variety of sources a writer uses. So a writer must synthesize and evaluate different perspectives of the source. This means you must build your own ideas from a variety of perspectives. So again, all your sources should not say the same thing. They should represent different values or belief systems, and your annotated bibliography is the place where you point out what those differences are. Now, I know that's a lot of questions that we just went over. You don't have to answer every question from the previous slide. You can choose a question per topic, or just choose the questions that are most relevant. Remember, the only one you have to answer is summary. Every annotated bib entry should have a summary at the beginning that begins with a signal phrase. Other than that, you can choose the questions that are most relevant to your topic, answering 3 to 4 of them. Is there a contradiction between your sources? Point that out. If several of your sources agree, it's probably not necessary to keep pointing out that they agree with each other. Point out the new sorts of evidence that one source presents over another. So essentially, this will be your annotated bib. Please let me know if you have any questions.